Boom. Welcome to Ada Continues, episode 223. Man, I thought this was like a Michael Bay production there for a second.
I know. I still think you need a green screen for the fire, so you can be that cool guy that doesn't look at explosions.
Exactly.
Where's the pun, though? It was 221 is 220 fun. 223 is about 220.
223. It's all about me. Get ready to see Ada Continue.
You're going to be amazed.
Oh, wow. Anyways, this is a weekly podcast post up every Monday on adacontinues.com as an MP3, or it goes up before that on youtube.com/adacontinues as a video, and we talk about video games and related topics. I am your host, Stafa. For those of you new to the show, welcome. My name is Stafa. How you doing today? And I have different guest hosts with me each show, and today I have Jess, who has returned to the show.
Hello. Hello, Internet. How are you?
The Internet.
I'm glad to be back.
Hello back.
The Internet says hello. Aw, that's
yes.
so nice. Sometimes it never answers.
Sometimes that person over there, and maybe that person.
Yeah, probably not some of my mods on Twitch. They're probably like, no, I don't say hi to her.
So awesome. The way how this episode will be segmented is we're going to talk about our main topic, which is annoying enemies.
Yes.
After that, we got a quick announcement, then some news, and then some listener feedback.
Ooh. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear people's opinions on things.
I'm not.
You're not? Spoiler alert, they're generally bad if they come from the internet.
So anyways, one quick disclaimer is that all opinions expressed on the show are of our own and not of our employers, whether past, present, or future. So recognize.
Please don't fire me.
Don't fire me before you hire me.
Don't fire me before you hire me. Indeed. I'm going to put that on my business card, and I'm going to credit you.
There you go.
I'm going to have a tiny version of your business card on my business card with that quote.
Hey, I'll just leave that quote to be public domain. That way you don't need to quote me. I'm that generous.
Thank you.
Or maybe I should charge because I need money. I don't know.
You need money? I have $1 here.
That's one more dollar than I had.
I'll airmail it.
Anyways, let's get talking about annoying enemies. And I'm not gonna lie, I got this idea from IGN because they post a video. But I didn't use any of their well, I think I used one. I don't know. I didn't. You didn't use any. I made my own list. I made my own list.
It's okay. It went from IGN to UsGN, and that's okay. It's all about caring.
Oh, it's not like we're the only ones who made this list. I mean, it's not like IGN's the only ones who made this list. Like so many other people have their own annoying enemies. So let's get going. We got. I got 5 on my list, and Jess, you have 5 as well, right?
Yep.
Since you are the guest, would you like to go first? We'll basically alternate.
Are we starting from 5, or are we starting from the most annoying?
Sure, let's start with 5.
Okay.
Go from 5 to 1.
My number 5 are clickers from The Last of Us. Essentially just any... Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm triggered. I just got triggered. That game, okay, so I'm bad at stealth. Anybody who knows me knows I'm bad at stealth. I'm more of a tank. But it's one of those things where, particularly the fact that you had to stealth past them and then you could only use a shiv. I was like, I know shiv happens, but can we not do this? But I was stuck in one room for a half hour just trying to get past them. And Papa Joel would not move, without breaking a branch. But Ellie could just walk past them. Ellie could just walk past them, banging a steel timbre, drum, just dancing. Nothing. They were fine. Clickers were fickle. But it also brings with like enemies that you have to stealth past bother me in general.
Well, imagine how much more annoying the clickers would be if enemies acknowledged Ellie.
Right? It would have been even worse had they actually
The
acknowledged her
game would be
presence.
impossible.
Or Tess. I think that was the other woman, the brown-haired woman. She was also equally bad. There was one time I was in a room, and they were like, there are clickers there. Just be careful, Joel. Like, get down behind this wall. And I'm behind this wall, and Tess just gets up and just runs past them. And they're fine. They're just eating a dude. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's okay. Apparently, Tess doesn't have to abide by the rules.
Exactly. Ellie's over there like, what's that classic oldie song? Baby, you're a firework.
Exactly.
Like,
she's singing. She's auditioning for American Idol over in the corner. I'm just crying. Please don't notice me. Please don't make Joel wear the squeaky shoes today. Naughty dog.
And on top of all that, to make clickers even more annoying is that when you use a shiv, the shiv breaks. Or it doesn't have like three times or something like that. It eventually breaks.
It breaks generally the first time you use it. You can upgrade them, which I did immediately because I wanted to make sure it would last. And then it lasts like maybe 2 or 3 times. But it's just one of those things I'm like, make better shit. How are you the Last of Us? We're doomed. If you're the Last of Us, Papa Joel, we're doomed. There's nothing that can go up from here.
Yeah, it's been a couple years since I played that game, but I do remember shivs broke.
Shivs broke extremely easily. I assume he files his nails or something with them and then just wears them down. And it's like, oh, wait, there's a clicker. I was trying to make myself look beautiful.
All right, move on to my
go for it.
So my number 5, from the Batman series, enemies that are holding a shield.
Oh, I almost put this on my list, so I feel your pain.
It's like, why are they even there? They're not there to fight you. They're like, I'm going to hold this big shield just to annoy you. And that is like their whole tactic. They're like, I'm just going to annoy you with this big shield. Right?
Because you just have to run up and punch them like the rest. It's just an annoying mechanic.
Yeah, it's like, I got to flip over them and then punch them in the back of the head just because I can't hit them straight on because of this big stupid shield that, like, they're not even doing anything with it. They're like, I'm just holding the shield.
Hello, it's me. They're like the Adele of shields. But yeah, do you have it's one of the, how do they decide? Because I think I would get annoyed if Steve always got the shield. Because you're not doing nearly as much work as the rest of them. Really? We're gonna fight Batman. Steve gets the shield again. Fine.
Yep. It's like, hey, I got the shotgun. I got the knives. Oh, well, you get the shield. You just stand there like a doofus.
Though the ones that have those stun guns in the Batman games are also extremely annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Those I hate the fact that you have to take out the stun before you can attack them. But it's one of those things. Yeah, shielded enemies are the worst. I don't know if you play at Rainbow Six Siege at all, but there are shield guys in that too, and I've died many a time. And I'm like, it's not fair.
I've only played it in the alpha. That's it. I haven't really played the actual game when it came out.
Well, be prepared. Prepare your soul and heart for the fact that there are shield guys, and they will murder you mercilessly.
Shield, the
riot
most
shields, man.
The most deadly weapon. The only game that I know of that lets you dual wield shields is Legend of Grimrock.
Oh yeah, I forgot you could dual wield.
You could dual wield shields.
If I could words good.
Yep, the game just doesn't even care. It's like, okay, you could put a shield on any hand, and okay, your other hand's free. You could put another shield there. That's fine.
That's the thing, though. I rarely use shields in games. I just realized I tend to just dual wield weapons. Even if the game offers you the option of a shield, I still won't take the same route as Steve. I still won't do it.
Offense is the best defense.
Right?
All right. Your number 4?
Mine is tickers from Gears of War, are generally enemies that blow up next to you. I think it's extremely rude Just you're running around. And the thing about tickers is they come in large groups. So while you're trying to fight the 3 that are over here, there's another one over here that's going to come up right behind you and just explode. And then
So what exactly are tickers? Since I've only played the first Gears of War.
So tickers are kind of like, well, they're based off of actual ticks. So if you've ever seen an actual tick, it's a larger version of that. So you have kind of a big husky shell, and inside of that is this glowing yellow material, and that explodes like nitrous right next to you. So tickers, you'll just hear that like, and then you just see these little things scurry out, and then they get around you, and they just explode. And if you get more than like 2, you're pretty much dead. And so you have to shoot them. You have to be away from them when you shoot them too, because if you just shoot them next to you, of course, they'll also do the damage. So it's essentially just you go from being this hulky man who's just really awesome to having to run away screaming like a little girl, just like, no!
like small enemies that are like insects crawling around the floor, especially in shooters, are terrible.
The Flood, man. The Flood from Halo.
Exactly. No. Oh man, I didn't even think of them. Should have gotten my list.
See, I thought you might have picked the Flood. I had the Flood on there because the Flood is just. I'm gonna add a 6. The Flood, man. And that'll just everyone will know.
All right, my number 4, from Mario 3, the giant Hammer Brothers in the Giant World.
Oh yeah.
Because the Hammer Brothers are bad enough as it is. But the giant ones in the Giant World, every time they jump, an earthquake and you get stunned.
Yeah, no. It was just a no-go with that. I don't know how many times I died.
I mean, like, when I played Mario 3 and I first got the Giant World, I was like, oh my god, everything's so big. It's so cool. Look at that big Goomba. Oh my god.
And then you forgot. You forgot what also was coming for you.
And then you get to the giant Hammer Bros. It's like, uh-oh.
It's almost kind of like the modern version of those. There's like the Shield Brothers in Destiny, and they do the same thing. They're huge, and and it's like, no. I had some PTSD flashbacks when I saw them. I was like, like no. But yeah, that's a good one. I had forgotten about the Hammer Bros.
What's next one on your list? Number 3.
Number 3. The Chainsaw Ganados from RE4, or enemies that one-shot you with ridiculous like weaponry. It's okay, so like I was playing RE4 for the first time, and you get in that village, like the first village, and everything locks, and this guy with a chainsaw and a bag on his head came out, and I was like, nope, I'm out. I hate chainsaws. One.
Is there even a way to kill that guy with the one that has the bag on his head?
To keep just running around. Essentially, it's extremely annoying because you can't kill him and you just have to keep running around killing all the other zombies. So you've already got a situation on your hand. It's like working customer service, and he's that one annoying customer. And you're like, well, I can't do anything about him, but then you're also having to take care of everything that you would normally do. I was like, nope, man. No to him.
That's the best analogy right there.
Thank you. But yeah, so he's my number 3. But he'll always be number 1 in my heart.
To be honest, I've never beat Resident Evil 4. Like I got to the point where I got to like the first castle, and then I was like, this game's not really for me. I'm not really digging.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's okay. Once you've seen the merchant and you can know the like, what are you buying? Then you're good. You don't need to play the game anymore.
What are you selling?
Hello, stranger.
I'll buy it at a high price.
Yeah, like once you got that, you're good. You've gotten the game, you're done. Like you can put it away. It's my least favorite Resident Evil game.
Oh, really? I hear a lot of people say it's one of the best.
Yeah, I've heard the same, but to me, I don't know. Maybe it's just my bitterness.
All right, my number 3. So I wanted to put a big bullet spongy enemy on my list because I hate big bullet spongy enemies. And the first one that came on my mind was the big gorilla looking dudes from Metro 2033. But then I was like, no. Borderlands has a lot more bullet spongy enemies. Like everyone's a bullet sponge in that game.
Oh yeah.
So there's so many to pick from Borderlands, so I just decided to pick the Goliaths, which are the really big dudes that have like these bucket helmets. And if you knock the bucket helmet off, They have like this tiny head underneath, and they go crazy and just start wailing at everybody, like even the enemies.
Don't they have a third form too? Because I remember there was one time I shot it again in the head, and then they become like a super mega Goliath or something, and you get an achievement for beating that one.
Maybe,
But
I don't know.
they are a pain.
They are insanity.
After I got the achievement, I was like, never touching them again.
Have I ever
Unless I
told
have
you
to
the definition of insanity? It's a Goliath from Borderlands 2.
And that would be a correct definition. I think you should get in touch with Webster and be like, can you actually change this?
Yeah, I gotta get in
Just
touch
also
with.
agrees.
Yeah, I gotta tell Voss that his definition of insanity is wrong. It's a Goliath.
Right? Yeah, Goliaths are, dude, they are, and they're so bullet spongy. I hate bullet spongy enemies.
Yes.
They're the worst.
Like, just about everyone in Borderlands is a bullet sponge because of the whole RPG element to it.
Yeah.
And
psychos, like, but and the Rock, the ones that are the ones that just fly around, but you can't shoot them because if you're in a car, particularly, like your aim is so bad.
Yeah.
Like, well, they're gonna hit me.
I don't know. I just hate bullet sponges. If I gotta like put 1,000 bullets into something before it dies, it's like, what's the bullet even made out of?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. Am I
Right?
just shooting them with super soakers?
Is this actually a laser light? So it's just bullet sponge land for you?
Pretty much. Number 2 on your list?
Actually, speaking of, it is also kind of a bullet sponge. It's Nemesis from RE3. It's the fact that enemies that are crazy difficult to beat because story-wise they can't die yet. So essentially, like, I don't know if you remember RE3, but the fact he would just mercilessly hunt you and he would just, like, shoot him and stab him and, like, drop him in acid. You just, like, tell him his mom never loved him. You would just do everything you possibly could and he would still find you. He's like
I've actually never played it, but I did watch my older brother play some of it. The only thing I remember was Nemesis chasing him a lot, and him as in my brother, not Jill. But
I mean, she did look manly in there, so it's okay.
Nemesis, I remember Nemesis chasing Jill a lot, and also the fact that the game had like some options, like Nemesis would break into the room and then it would say, like, it would give 2 options to either fight or run away or something like that. Was that a thing in the game?
I remember that being a thing. It wasn't very often, but I do think I recall having something where it was essentially like you could fight him, but it was best not to because you weren't going to be able to kill him. He was nearly invincible. He was just rude. I'm going to say it, Nemesis. You were rude to me. I was like, go away. I said no. He was just chill out. He was like, but are you sure? Are you sure? But yeah, so that kind of thing. Bullet sponges, enemies that are extremely difficult for no reason.
Yeah.
Okay, what's yours?
Number 2 on my list, from Castlevania, the Medusa heads.
Oh yeah.
Like, just about in any game, if you have like a small flying annoying thing, those are just completely annoying. But to make them worse in Castlevania, the Medusa heads, you're platforming on these little itty bitty bricks, usually in a clock tower when they appear, and they're going in this like sine wave.
You're like having to math while also doing
Yes, they're moving in a sine wave, and you gotta like time your jumps over them. And if you get hit by them mid-air, you'll like fall down to your death. And yeah, very
really
annoying.
You could have just put Castlevania, and I would have just understood because most of the enemies in that game are ridiculous.
And I guess the ones that are worse are the ones that like actually turn you into stone, because rather than pushing you back. Because the regular ones, they'll kind of like push you back as you fall. The ones that turn you stone, you'll turn a stone, you'll just drop straight down
through the thing. Yeah, I had totally forgotten about those. It's been so long since I played Castlevania. I think my mind just blocked it. Like, you need to just block this part of your life.
I still wake up in the middle of the night. Oh, Medusa.
Medusa. You gotta go get some water. Take a moment.
Yep.
Have you thought about going to therapy? Just like sitting down and just being like, I need to talk about the Medusa
Thought
heads from
about it.
Pennsylvania.
I'm already in it.
I think you should probably share a link at the end for some of the activities she says you should do to get over the Medusa heads, because I'm sure most of your audience is also. If you have been affected by Medusa heads.
Anyways, you're number 1.
My number 1 is the hunters from Dead Space, or enemies that regenerate limbs or themselves. So if you don't know Dead Space, but you do know RE, since I've mentioned RE a lot, that if you've ever seen the Crimson Heads, they get back up after you've killed them. Hunters are essentially that. They're these huge forms of necromorphs, but instead of being able to just chop off their limbs like you would normally in a Dead Space game, they regenerate their limbs. And if you just make them blow up, they'll regenerate themselves, and then they'll come after you. And there's a particular thing in the Dead Space games that I remember that I absolutely hated was the fact that you have to run. You're on a timer, the place is about to blow, and you're also having to fight this regenerating monster. And it's one of the most annoying and terrifying things I've ever done in my life.
Is that the same one that's like at the end of number 2?
Yeah, it's very close.
Yeah, like I remember playing that and I was like, ah. I was just
raging. I was hardcore raging the entire time.
I'd get to like a dead end where like it's like waiting for the door to open or something like that, and then it's like he's coming. I gotta get like, was it like some kind of freeze gun or something like that?
Yeah, you had a freeze gun, and you basically had to freeze him. Was it a freeze gun, or was it basically you'd hit something? You had like tanks you had it. I don't recall, but it was you froze him, and then you were able to get out of that area, but you couldn't fight him.
Yeah.
You're just wasting bullets.
And then in number 3, I didn't even beat 3. Well, I've never played 1. I've played 2. I really liked it. I beat 2. And then I played 3. I was playing it co-op. And those things showed up way earlier on in number 3 than, number 2 is at the very end.
Yeah. I think they're like a different form. I think they were harder in 3 if I remember, because they were more difficult.
It showed up so early, and not only was it so difficult for me to, run away from it, but like I was playing co-op, and my partner, I don't know if it was because of lag or something, but she kept on dying from the flames because there was like the whole room was blowing up with flames shooting everywhere, and
yeah,
so we had to like keep on redoing that segment, and since we were stuck on that segment for like a good hour or so, and I was like, we're done. We're never going to play this game again.
Like, it's one of those things. See, I thought that same thing because I had played co-op with another person. I was like, why are you dying so much? Like, come on. This is easy. But the Isaac, because if she was playing as the other character, I think his name is John, she's actually hallucinating. Like, if you play as John, he hallucinates. And so it makes it more difficult to get through puzzle areas.
Oh, I was Isaac, I think.
Yeah, if you were Isaac, she might have been seeing like these weird. He sees these like weird toy soldiers and stuff, and like has these things. So like at one point, I was in a room and it's late. It's like middle of the game, and you're having to fight wave after wave after wave after wave of these necromorphs, and your partner is just standing there like doing nothing. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, shoot the bad things. And then they're messaging and they're like, dude, I'm like tripping out. There's like nothing around. And I'm just like shooting imaginary things. He can't see the necromorphs. Dead Space 3 is an amazing game. Go play it. Finish it.
Dead Space 3.
I love it. It's so good story-wise.
There's another segment I remember. Like, basically, I was doing some puzzle on like some... basically, I was moving stuff around to clear a pathway or something that was outside. Yeah. And my partner, she was basically trying to hold off the necromorphs as I'm like on the console doing the puzzle. And we did that so many times. And basically, like, we decided that I keep doing the puzzle because of the fact that, like, the puzzle seemed like it was the same thing each time. Each time we redid it, it was the same thing. So because I was memorizing it, we're like, okay, might as well.
Yeah, it's best you just do it.
Yeah, just best that I keep doing it since I was the one that was memorizing it. Otherwise, if we alternated and say, oh, it's your turn, you try to do it, it would take longer for one of us to memorize the puzzle.
Man.
So
But anyway,
it was so annoying.
what's your number one?
My
What's the
number
that
one.
It's your goat.
My number one. This enemy is so annoying that it's like borderline terrifying. And this is from Mario 2, Phanto. Phanto, the mask that just
Oh my god, yes.
This dude
You do not want a Phanto, don't you?
Yeah, it's like you pick up a key and then Phanto's like, that's my key. He's
not all about sharing. Phanto was not really about sharing.
And Phanto like follows you through the walls and it's like, this is terrifying.
He's essentially the Mario version of the hunter. He's like, I'm gonna follow you everywhere.
Pretty much. Like you'll go through the walls, you'll go through the objects, you'll go through the screen. Because you'll go from one screen to another, and then he'll be like, whoop, here I come, coming through the floor.
He's very, attached to you. He's almost like a stalker. He's like, he starts playing Every Breath You Take by the Police. Just like he's outside of your window with a boombox. Just like Mario.
Yep, have that boombox above your head.
This Phanto.
But yeah, Phanto is like so annoying, probably terrifying.
Phant noping out of there. Do not once. Do not once.
Phanto GTFO.
Man, I had totally forgotten about Phanto. That was an insanely good first one. Yeah, he's annoying. Yeah, we should just, hashtag ban Phanto. Just go back in time. Phanto.
There you go.
Here's your Twitter. Just start a campaign to go back and just erase him from Mario history.
Exactly, man. In fact, not. I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't do that. Maybe they should just bring him back.
No.
Put him in Mario Maker. have like a whole custom made level that has nothing but Phantos.
Do you know how trolly that would get? No one would. You have to complete the level that you make, man. There's no way. Actually,
that's the challenge to make the level. You gotta figure out how you're gonna beat a level full of Phantos.
Just make a new game like Nintendo tends to do, where it's just Super Mario Phanto Maker. Just all Phantos. Make your own. Customize them.
All Phanto all the time.
Exactly.
All right. So that's our top 5 most annoying enemies in video games. Listeners, what's your top 5? Send it to podcast@AfricanTees.com. Let me know. I want to know what characters or enemies what enemies you find annoying, whether it's like, a specific enemy. If you just want to give me a general, shield guy type thing, then that's fine too. But just send me a list. I want to know if you agree, if you disagree, if you have your own top 5, let me know. But one thing that isn't annoying, Jess?
What? I think I know. I think I can guess.
DreamHost.
Oh my god, I was right. I feel so good.
DreamHost, because they're a web service. They offer unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth, user-friendly interface. They're optimized to use content managers such as WordPress and many more features. They also have a very friendly customer service that I chatted with them. They were not annoying at all. They didn't go through the walls or anything or chase me. They just helped me out and fixed the issue. Very friendly customer service. Unlike the shooting the dudes in Resident Evil 4 and
they're
chainsaw
like
guys. Yeah.
Chainsaw guys.
I mean, they could probably handle the chainsaw dudes because that's how good customer service they are at.
They sound really good. They sound like they hunter for good prices and service for you.
Exactly. All that just for $8.95 US a month, but it gets better.
How does it get better?
It gets better because if you use the promo code OUTOFCONTINUES, that's one word and no space, it will waive away the setup fee and get you a free domain registration, homie. What? Oh my god.
There you go.
That caught me off guard. Yeah,
I
check
always
it
have party supplies on my desk, man. You got to be ready at any moment.
always gotta be ready. But yeah, DreamHost, check them out. One quick announcement though, we can use some iTunes reviews if you wanna help out the show. One of the single most helpful things you could do for this podcast is to leave an iTunes review, and that's because the way how Apple works is that they basically go by week basis. I don't know why, but they're like, hey, if you don't have any reviews this week, you have no reviews at all. So you know, they basically don't put me on the podcast charts, you know, if I don't get any reviews on a specific week.
Go
So
review it.
yeah,
Go.
help out the show, leave a review. But if you can't leave a review for whatever reason, such as you already left a review, or you can't access your iTunes account because you forgot your password and Apple is crazy when it comes to that stuff, or whatever reason, you can also help out the show by sharing the podcast with a friend through social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, uh, Reddit, YouTube. You give the little like, all that stuff. Tell a friend about this show. Or if you don't like this show, if you think I'm annoying, tell an enemy about the show. That also works. Tell someone you don't like. Be like, hey, you're like an Out of Continues.
Start a trend.
Exactly.
Tell your least favorite cousin. Like, just ruin the family reunion if you
Yep.
need to. But get the word out there, people.
Exactly.
So, if you don't have an iTunes account, can you leave a review anyway, or do you have to create one?
You need an iTunes account.
You have to. It's not
Yes.
anonymous. Okay. Then
Yes.
it's free. It's free, and you don't have to actually eye of the tunes.
Exactly.
I know a lot of my peeps are like Microsoft, but it's gonna be okay, guys.
Yeah, I don't use iTunes either, but
I don't anymore either.
You know,
I just Spotify.
I gotta get myself on iTunes because it's a podcast. Gotta
It's a
do it.
podcast thing.
Gotta do it.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
So, anyways, let's get into the news. If we are gonna screen share, maybe, please screen share. Boom! Screen share. All right. So, the first news
Awesome.
topic I got on here. It appears that big surprise, people on the internet are complaining.
Yeah, who would have guessed? Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, I know. Big news. But anyways, more specifically,
And that's it. And then we move on.
yeah, more specifically, I'm talking about Firewatch. Now I haven't played Firewatch yet. Have you, Jess?
I have played it and I have beaten it. And it is a really good game.
I've heard that, like, from the things I've heard about this game, it sounds like it's like a Game of the Year contender.
I really think it should be if it, I mean, we're really early in the year, so it might get kind of lost by the end because of the fact it was so short, but it was extremely good. The visuals are just amazing and rich, and you got some really nice game mechanics that you don't see a lot, like navigation, and the story is just really good. It is an extremely well-written game. I highly recommend it.
Unfortunately, I'm a broke homie, so
Yeah.
I can't afford games right now, but I'd like to check this out eventually.
Steam sale, for sure.
Beside that, though, like, people seem to be unhappy. Even though they're happy with the game, they're unhappy with the length of the game, which is 2 to 3 hours or so, maybe 4 if you're
bad at navigating
slow.
like me, more like 5. But yes, I got lost repeatedly. Like, you have a map and you have a compass, and I was wandering around, and I was streaming at the time. So I'd be like, okay, I'm going, I'm going to go north. And then apparently I would turn around and immediately start going like east. And everyone was just like, what are you doing? But yeah, it was about a 3 to 6 hour game, I think, depending on how long you play it. But if it was, having played it, if it had been longer, it would have been too much.
Okay. But on top of the short length, it's also an $18 game, which, I mean, for $18, that's kind of like for a game that just released, for a brand new game, that's like your average indie title.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
most indie early access on Steam goes for about 15, and that's not
yeah,
even finished games yet.
yeah. And so from what I've heard about this game, despite the length and whatever, it sounds like it's a reasonable asking price. I mean, I guess a similar. Well, when I'm thinking about a short indie game that's around the same price, I'm thinking like maybe Bastion, which Bastion takes like 4 to 6 hours or so, and that
Yeah.
was I think it was like $15 brand new, and I was really happy with that game. So
It's one of those things that I really think that as long as you're happy at the end of it, it really doesn't matter how long it was. If this game had been like $40, I would understand why people were wanting a Steam refund for the time. But it's a reasonable price, and it was an extremely well done game. And most of the forums, I found it interesting when I looked into it because people were basically saying, I loved the game, I thought it was amazing, I thought it was beautiful, I had so much fun, but it was only 3 hours, so I want my money back. And that's kind of like, wait a second, what?
yeah,
Like, you enjoyed it, and it's a normal price for an
yeah.
indie title.
And one of the developers, like basically what this article talks about, is that somebody wrote in saying, "Hey, I had a lot of fun with this game, but it was only 2 to 3 hours. I feel like there could have been more, and I'm thinking of refunding. But here's my problem: I love this game. It was unique and da da da. Should I refund it?" And basically, the developer, they wrote back with a very lengthy reply, but they basically said that, hey, they took a big risk with this game, and they poured their heart and soul and worked really hard to make the game that they wanted to make, and they felt like what the price tag that they put on there is a reasonable asking price for how hard they worked on this game. And
Yeah.
if you're not happy with the game, they're sorry. They'll try to make something better in the future. But they're saying, hey, look, we worked really hard on this game.
Yeah, and they were
This,
basically saying that, life happened and they had to go through stuff, and they lived in that cramped office sharing a bathroom, and they did all these things. Like, if anybody, particularly if you've ever worked in game development, like, you'll understand how much heart and soul was put into it, and it shows through the product. I like the fact he does end up not refunding it, and I know a lot of the people didn't after. I think her name was Jane from the company, Jane from Camp Santos.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a really heartfelt response, and I think it does bring up the fact that people seem to be focusing a lot on how long a game is rather than how good a game is. It seems to be a problem.
Yes. I mean, like, I don't think like the length of a game should matter, but there are very few times where it really does matter. Like, for example, there's one game on Steam. It's called 30 Flights of Loving. Pretty sure that's what it's called. Yeah, 30 Flights of Loving. And let me.
That sounds like a thing that you can't put up on ShareWatch.
Just want to make sure. 30 Flights of Loving. It's $4.99 on Steam, and like a lot of people really like this game, and I thought it was decent. But the thing is, the asking price is, well, you can see I put a little negative review. I'm sorry. The asking price is $5, $4.99, but you can literally get through the entire thing in 15 minutes, and that is if you take your time and try to explore.
Yeah.
You get through from start to end. Like, I wonder if it shows. Okay, it says 0.7 hours on record for me, and that's including my playthrough. That's including my younger brother's playthrough and Kevin's playthrough as well.
Oh man. Okay, yeah. It's one of those things that's almost a little too short. Like, that's maybe like, see, it's hard to say because I know that I'm sure they worked a long time on it, but it probably, yeah, if you can complete the entire game doing everything in like 15 minutes, you should probably have it as like a $2 game.
Yeah, like I told Kevin, hey Kevin, I want you to play through this, and I had my laptop and we're at school, and I was like, I want you to play through this and tell me what you think. And Kevin, if you don't know Kevin's play style, Kevin likes to look at everything. Like
Oh, yeah.
he'll look under the counter, he'll look around the corners, he will search everything to try to see if there's like something hidden or just whatever. And so he's the explorer type of player.
Yeah.
And even for him, it took him about 15 minutes or so to beat the entire game from start to finish. And he was like, that's it? And I'm like, yeah, that's the entire thing. And it's just really disappointing to like give something like this a negative review, because it's a decent story, it's a decent experience, but like for the whole thing, 10 to 15 minutes for $5. At that point, it's like, no.
You do have, yeah. Like, it's your money. Like, it does come down to the fact that, like, that's $5 you could have spent on Taco Bell or on other food that you eat. Like,
I mean, like, I could go to a matinee movie for $6. So,
yeah. So it's one of those things where you didn't do that, and so now you're stuck with something. And particularly with, like, Steam, the refund system, while it's in place, is still really hard to get a refund.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to go through a whole process. So it's one of those things when you've made a mistake, like, it's very difficult to get your money back.
So, my point is, for the most part, length shouldn't be a factor as far as, how much a game is worth. I mean, I understand some people, they want like their 70-hour game because they can't afford to buy a game so often. But, at the same time, if a game is incredibly short, like 15 minutes, then that's an issue. Yeah.
I think anything below, when you get below an hour, then you start to wonder. I think even the Beginner's Guide, which was an amazing game, but people complained it was too short, amongst many other complaints. But it was about 2 to 3 hours as well. But I feel like if you go below an hour, then you have to question the price if it's anything.
I didn't play the Beginner's Guide, but I did play the Stanley Parable, and I wasn't really satisfied with that.
See, I haven't played the Stanley Parable, but I've played the Beginner's Guide. And I was really satisfied with the Beginner's Guide.
Stanley Parable had its moments. I know a lot of people really like that game, and it had some interesting moments, but there was a lot of just straight up nothing going on, and it was just too short. Like I played through the game like 3 times and got 3 different endings, and I don't know. I don't feel like it was worth it. Like it was unique. It's cool. I'm glad it exists, but. And also keep in mind, I also played the original mod when that came out too. The original Half-Life 2 mod, I think.
Okay.
So.
And see, like, I've heard the same thing for Firewatch as well. Like, I really, really enjoyed it, but a couple of my friends said that the ending was really disappointing and it kind of just made the game blah to them. So it's one of those things where I think there are games like that where people think they're anticlimactic or they don't have enough content. Just depends.
Let's move on. Unless you have anything else you want to say about this.
Oh, no. I just think it's a good game. Go buy it. Go buy it. No subliminal messaging there.
Let's talk about friend of the show, good friend of Ada Continues.
You've got a Metal Gear Solid friendship.
Yep. Hideo Kojima. So a lot has happened with Hideo Kojima this past week. I mean, him and Guillermo del Toro, presented to him the at the DICE Awards.
He finally won something.
Yeah, Lifetime Achievement Award for the AIAC or something like.
Yeah.
Something interactive arts something.
It had interactive in the title, and he was very happy about it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So. Yeah, he got the award, Lifetime Achievement Award, and he also was meeting up with, what's his name, Norman Reedus from Walking Dead.
Yes, which then sparked conversations about whether PT was coming back, which, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
Or Silent Hills, or at least some kind of variation of what they were originally envisioning for Silent Hills.
Yeah.
So Kojima, he's been in a lot of interviews and talks lately, and basically, I pull up this article where Kojima says, let me read the quote. For this, with Sony, we are working on a project that will be a new IP, of course, and I have no idea if it's going to be a series or not, but I want to make something that will have a big enough impact to become a series. By impact, I mean from the things that are unique to the game, the characters, and the world. This impact can lead into something outside of games, such as anime, manga, figures, something that is rich enough to expand.
Somebody's already looking for like royalties and marketing strategies. It's always nice when someone's like, I really want to make a game that I can make dolls out of. Yeah, that's a good start. I just think it's nice to see someone with emo bangs that isn't in a punk band make it big. It looks like Buddy Holly meets Gerard Way.
Oh,
good
man.
on ya.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's thinking big, and
yeah,
with him saying that, he's not sure if it's going to be a series or not, but he wants it to be a series. I'm hoping that whatever this game is going to be a good standalone game that can be expanded on, rather than, hey, this is going to be like part 1 out of 5, and if parts 3, 4, and 5 never come out, then sad day for you.
Yeah, essentially. Or you end up having what happened to some of the original Silent Hill games and stuff, where the original team leaves and then other people do it, and it just doesn't have the story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I hope that if he does decide to do a series, he actually plans it out, so he knows like his start point and his end point. It isn't just like, I'm going to make a standalone game, then another standalone game, and eventually I'll get to a story.
Yeah.
Like, I would hope. If he's thinking big, think big, Kojima. Maybe I can go and talk to him. Maybe I can be his life coach. I did read an interview with him that was really interesting, though, before this, actually. He was talking about his new studio and stuff, and he was saying that he had been in the video game industry 30 years, and it still hasn't crushed him, and I was like, are you sure you're working in the video game industry? Particularly with everything, with his Konami breakup.
Hey, he is a tough man, because if it hasn't crushed him, especially after what Konami did to him,
right?
Then this dude is he's made of diamond.
He is made of just steel. He is Superman. Confirmed. Kojima is Superman.
You heard it here first. Breaking news.
I think that basically, be honest, Kojima. You ate a little ice cream and you listened to some Taylor Swift. You can come out and say it.
You listen to the J-pop equivalent.
Exactly. He's just sitting somewhere eating Rocky Road, listening to J-pop.
All right, let's ready to move on?
Yep.
All right.
Hit that X.
From one famed game designer to another. Talk about Warren Spector now, who most of you know from making the original Deus Ex game and the original System Shock, and I believe he worked on System Shock 2 as well.
Hasn't he been a game designer, game design teacher for a while now? So
yes.
As some of you may know from that guy who gave you that quiz a week ago.
Yes, I've met Warren Spector.
You have?
Yes, I totally my brain melted. I didn't know what to say. I was like, I was like, Deus Ex is amazing.
Was it a System Shock?
Oh,
you cut the feed. You're like, I'm out.
I met him. I met him at GDC. He was at the IGDA booth while I was volunteering there, and basically, I got a picture with him. It's on my Facebook, and also he basically was like, "What do you do?" I was like, "I'm a game designer." He was like, "Okay, great." It was like, and I told him I was a student at the time. He was like, "Are you graduating soon?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, great. Here's a brochure." You could join my school. Like at that point, he was just trying to sell me. I was like, I love you.
Oh, nice, nice, Warren Spector.
But anyways, Warren
Get them while they're
Spector.
young.
Yep. Oh, I'm no longer young. He's too late. Too late. So he's joining Other Side Entertainment as the lead to lead the development for System Shock 3. And that's pretty interesting because Warren Spector, like from the stuff he's been saying lately, I've been getting the impression that he's like tired of like being known for the guy who, you know, made these awesome shooters. And like he was kind of like he's been talking down onto other shooters like Wolfenstein, for example, Wolfenstein: The New Order. I remember when the trailer for that came out, he was talking smack about how it's gonna be a mindless shooter, and they're just slapping a Jimi Hendrix song on there to make it deep or whatever.
Wow.
But
Warren smacked her.
Yeah, he seemed pretty bitter about it. But it's interesting that he's, you know, working on a shooter again. I mean, the last few games he's worked on were like Mickey Mouse games.
Yeah.
And
it's nice to see him going back to his roots. I did read, I think it was on Polygon, not GameSpot, but they had talked to him, I guess at the DICE Summit as well, because he was there, about what he was going to do. And he said he was going to basically replay the old games because he couldn't remember enough from the first couple System Shocks. And then he's going to think about ideas, and then he's going to learn lessons. He like listed like 7 things. And I'm like, this sounds like a lecture. Like you've clearly been in school for way too long. You like shut up. Made a bulleted list.
What if the next System Shock game, System Shock 3, you don't even use a gun?
It's just a number 2 pencil sharpened.
Whoa.
And then like that's what the timed things are. Like you have to get through this building, and then you don't get through it enough. It's like, put your pencils down. It's done.
I don't think he was that kind of a teacher, but let's roll with it. Let's roll with it.
Indeed, let's roll with it.
Either way, I think this is pretty exciting that, you know, they got Warren Spector.
It is.
I mean, like the last 2 games, the last 2 Mickey Mouse games he was working on, you know, they got low. It was poorly received, both of them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, both of them had a lot of criticism and issues, and you know, I hope that this game is gonna be like something a lot better for, you know, whenever he retires.
Yeah.
Basically what I'm saying is when he retires, I don't want like his last few games to be like, oh, remember him making that dumb Mickey Mouse game, you know?
Yeah.
I think
it would be better if he could leave a more lasting legacy, which is ending on System Shock or Deus Ex. Like, it would be nice. I think it would be better for him. It's good to see him back. It's good to see him getting back in the game.
Yeah.
Literally.
They used the wrong picture. They should have totally used the picture of me and him.
Right? You should probably message them.
Yeah, I was like, hey guys, GameSpot, why are you using this picture? This is outdated. Use this newer picture of me and him instead.
That's the picture that everyone uses, GameSpot. Don't you want to be on the edge?
Yeah, exactly. Ready to move on?
Yep.
All right, let's talk about Call of Duty, because that is obviously my favorite game because I never talk about it on the show.
Why don't you ever talk about it?
Because I don't play it.
You don't play it? I do. I play Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and I'm actually pretty excited about this. But
I got Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Don't have 3.
3 is actually a lot better than 2. I was never a big fan of like Modern Warfare and some of the other ones, but 3 actually expensive. Like, it's gonna be okay though when it drops.
I don't have money.
You'll get money. It's okay.
I'm broke as a joke.
Like, you're gonna become famous immediately. Just it's gonna be okay. I'm just gonna stroke my mic. There you go.
I can't even pay attention. That's
But yeah, I'm a little upset they're not gonna let you prestige in the Steam one. That's odd because that's a big Call of Duty draw for most people.
Well, let's start from the beginning at least.
I'm sorry, I jumped.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that this Call of Duty Black Ops 3, they've released a multiplayer only version of this game for a limited time on Steam. And that's something that, some people have been criticizing that Activision should do for Call of Duty, because there are lots of people who only play Call of Duty for the multiplayer. So it seems like they're testing out the waters with this. They put out this version of the game that's only $15. It's just the multiplayer portion without zombies, without the campaign, of course, because it's multiplayer only. It doesn't let you prestige. It's only the ranked mode, and am I missing anything else?
No, that's pretty much it.
It won't have custom server lobbies, custom game lobbies, as well as whenever the modding tools are released, it won't have those either.
Oh, I didn't hear about the modding tools. Because I know people are probably not going to be crazy about that. But yeah, it's essentially.
Here's a list right here.
Pack. Oh well, did you miss anything on that? Oh yeah, it's not going to have nightmares either. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's a nice starter pack. It's one of those things, like, I bought Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and I've only played multiplayer. I played like a little bit of the story and then I stopped. So I mean, if you wanted to play it with your friends but were unable to buy the $60, it's nice. Like, they're obviously knowing their audience finally. I'm like, hey, here's this. I was wondering if they'll add the other maps though later, if they'll add like the new DLC pack that just came out. But that's hard to say.
Not sure.
I couldn't find anything about that.
I'm assuming it would have the maps. Well, okay.
Because I mean, that alone, the new DLC pack with like the water park and some of the other stuff, is $15 in and of itself. So I feel like they would just give you the thing. But I do think the ability to prestige is going to be a problem, because I know a lot of the people who play multiplayer do like to prestige, which is just essentially when you go through and then you rank completely.
I'm not all that familiar with prestiging. From what I understand, when you like get so hot, like when you completely level up, you can start over from the bottom. Is that?
Yeah, essentially, and you get like a prestige rank. And so I think one of my friends is like prestige rank 3, which means he's capped out 3 times and gone back. It's just kind of bragging rights to a certain extent, but I know that a lot of people enjoy that. And I think that's going to be their only miss with this.
Does it give you like any benefit as far as like unlocking weapons or anything?
I think so. I think it means that you can unlock some weaponry. But I've never actually prestiged yet, so I don't know for sure. I will have to ask someone.
This seems to be a really odd time for them to like do this, because back, I don't know, like a few years ago, there was so many $15 multiplayer shooters going on at the same time, mainly indie games. And that was before like all these indie shooters tried to become free to play shooters. And now they're trying to be free to play shooters, and it seems like Activision's like late to the party. Like, hey, here's like a $15 starter pack for our multiplayer game.
It does seem like they're a little late to the party, but I wonder if it's strategic in the sense that like they just released the DLC pack. Now they're going to try and hit that Steam market again, and then if that works out, then they can hit the console systems in a few months and kind of get more people. Because I know that in like, I think 2 or 3 months they're releasing another map pack. I know they're going to be releasing map packs over the year, so it might be kind of trying to hit people in between the map packs.
Yeah. I mean, this will definitely be more successful than those indie games, because one issue with those $15 shooters that were coming out was that they weren't popular enough to build a large community, and for a multiplayer only game, you need a community.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if there's no one playing the game, then you can't play the game.
Exactly.
It's kind of a requirement to have people for a multiplayer only game. So,
and Call of Duty is huge. So
yeah, Call of Duty's huge. Plus, you'll have the people who are playing like the actual base game. So
I just want Activision to have cross-platform for it, but just do it. You know he wants to go Activision.
I'm pretty sure they want to, but they gotta fight Microsoft and Sony.
Yeah, sadly, but it's good news. Good news for Call of Duty players.
Speaking of good news, bad news.
Oh! So
I lined up this article after the last one because this is what I think it was like $10 or $15 multiplayer only shooter, and it was this game's called Minimum. Some of you might have heard of it. It was on Steam, or you can still find the page on Steam. It was published by Atari, made by Timegate Studios, which some of you might know for Section 8, which is also a multiplayer-only game. They also, I think they did the single-player portion of that Aliens Colonial Marines game, which bombed.
So they've got a good track record.
Section 8 was cool. Aliens Colonial Marines, that was a bomb. But so the Minimum, basically this game is a multiplayer only shooter. It has kind of a MOBA aspect to it. So like the reason why it's called Minimum is because the art style, I think. It's very it looks like all the characters minimalistic, like you just see polygons on the characters. And with the MOBA aspect to it, basically like each team has like one giant titan that spawns, and you're supposed to push that titan towards the other team. So rather than having like waves of creeps, you have just one giant titan, and in between the rounds where the titans spawn, you have to like fight like these neutral jungle creeps. To like the more that you fight those and collect the crystals, then the stronger your titan will be when it spawns. So that way, when the titans fight each other, your titan has the edge if it's leveled up higher.
Oh, okay, so that's kind of cool. It's like it's like a Clash of the Titans thing, like where you're fighting giants.
So I played this game. I have it. I played it, and it had some cool stuff going with it, but the game was released too early. Basically, like they released it out of early access too early, and when you enter the game, you got your main menu. There were features on it that if you clicked on it, it would say coming soon. That's how early, that's how premature the game was released. That there was features that literally said coming soon if you clicked on it or hovered the mouse over it or whatever.
Yeah, that's a bit for an early access.
Yeah, plus the game was very unbalanced. There were weapons that you can unlock later. Like basically you have to it had like a very free to play microtransaction aspect to it, but like instead of buying the stuff with microtransactions, you have to like level up the character. I guess kind of like Call of Duty, I suppose. Like the leveling up system.
Yeah, it sounds similar.
So the weapons that you unlock later some of them are a lot more powerful than the stuff that you have earlier. And one issue I had with the game was I was literally playing with the same people like night after night. I'd play different nights, and I'm literally playing with the same people because that's how few people there were playing. And it's like, okay, this is not fun because these people have overpowered weapons. So at some point last year, around September, this game was pulled temporarily because the servers were down, and it has never gone back up ever since. So because it's never gone back up, it kind of got pulled from Steam, where you can't really buy it. Like it's still there on the Steam store, but you can't buy the game.
Well, that's good. Did they refund? Like I didn't see that anywhere in the article. They said that they refunded people's money from the previous one.
No, I didn't get a refund.
Man, that was just the minimum.
I mean, it's the reason why I want to talk about this is because the whole, like I mentioned earlier, the whole like $15 multiplayer shooter thing. It it seems to be a formula that has not worked, and it will not work, especially for indie developers. I mean, it might work for Call of Duty because of how popular that game is, but like other than that, it seems like something that just will not work.
With games like these, it might be better to have an actual like campaign and then have a small multiplayer. So then when you build up your audience, then you can start pushing multiplayer more rather than just starting with straight off multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
You have no, like, I had never even heard of this game before today. Now, granted, it did disappear, and there are some games I wish that are on Steam right now that would also do the same. If I just like open one of them up and they're like executable, not found, I'd be like, well, solid.
The funny thing is this game came out around the same time as Titanfall, and it was So first of all, it got overshadowed by Titanfall, and secondly, like the premise is kind of similar to Titanfall, where you have a team of 5 or so humans, and you have AI creeps, and you have Titans. So
yeah, it sounds very similar to Titanfall, so no wonder it got overshadowed.
But yeah.
Hopefully they get it solved and you guys can get a refund.
No refund.
Sadness for days.
Yeah. Moving on?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, let's talk about the New York Public Library.
Libraries. Read good, kids.
Bear. When I was a teenager, the first job I got was at a library.
Oh, really?
Yep. And there's this girl. She saw me and she was like, "You new here?" I'm like, "Yes." And she was like, "You librarian?"
You librarian. I thought it was interesting. So I'm currently in a master's program to do library sciences. I'm focusing on games and how they relate to libraries, but it's one of those things I had to do a job shadow. And so I went to a rather large library, and I was sitting there. And I don't know how many times I got asked, where is the bathroom? Like, and then I did have the same thing where it was just librarians.
You librarian.
This bodes well.
So since you pulled this article, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, that sounds really good. So essentially, I thought this would be kind of interesting for any of the game developers that watch your channel and possibly even yourself. So digitization in libraries is a big thing that's happening at the moment, essentially taking analog things like paper and then scanning them and then putting them up on the web. And its collections are growing around. The New York Public Library has one of the biggest. And in fact, Jane McGonigal a few years back had done a big game for them to show off their collection. It was called Find the Future.
She's a friend of the show too.
Yeah, I know you met her when she was...
She also liked my tweets.
She does? Well, shout out to McGonigal.
Only a couple.
Only a couple. Only a couple. A short move. She likes every single tweet I ever post. But yeah, they opened up their collections to everyone with their New York Public Library Labs. They essentially have a group of people that are working to try and get people interested in the digital collections. And actually, one of their teammates, Mauricio Giraldo, I believe. Mauricio Giraldo, he actually made a game called Mansion Maniac. And it showcases the growth of wealth and architecture in New York through these giant maps that they've digitized. And essentially, that was decently popular for them, although it's not that great a game. Like, it's literally just a scroll bar. He took a Pac-Man character, and you can just scroll through the rooms, and they appear. And it's just to show you how cramped they were.
Oh, so it's nothing like Maniac Mansion.
It's nothing like Maniac Mansion. And every single person that I know who knows anything about games immediately thinks of Maniac Mansion instead of this. So, like, the name should have been changed. But they're currently accepting applications for game designers and artists until the 26th of February to help either map stuff, visualize the things, generate art or games. And I was thinking it's a really great opportunity for anybody looking for internships and stuff. Because honestly, like, for my capstone, I had started doing a 3D representation of a room that was in a blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of think that could be taken. Like, if you could take this Mansion Maniac game, see, I even did it, and you could make it into like a 3D version of what these apartments would have looked like at the time, it would be just baller. I think it would be amazing. So I thought it was really interesting. It's nice to see that they're actually getting out there, because games have been in libraries for a few years now, but they're not very well talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think a lot of game designers, when they're first getting out of school, are thinking about the applications other than like health fields and games themselves, the places that they could possibly get work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's that. So if you're interested, you should go do it.
Yeah,
Libraries are cool.
this definitely seems very cool, and I do like the fact that you know, the New York Public Library is promoting game development. You know.
Yeah, they want game design, like legitimate people, rather than just librarians doing it.
You librarian.
Librarian. Where's the bathroom? They should make the Where's the Bathroom game. It's there.
Let's
have it at the reference desk.
ready to move on?
Sounds good, man.
All right. Let's talk about
Pita.
yeah, let's talk about pita. Pita bread.
Pita bread.
So Josh Hutcherson, who star of or one of the stars of Hunger Games, played the character Pita Bread.
Pita bread.
Pita. So he is going to be starring in a Hulu show written by what's his name, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. Not too familiar. Who's Evan Goldberg? Just one of the writers who's worked with Seth Rogen a lot.
Yeah, he's kind of like his bud. It seems like they write a lot of movies together.
Okay. So yeah, they wrote Superbad and Pineapple Express. So they're doing this Hulu show called Future Man, and Josh Hutcherson is playing as a socially inept gamer. And that's the main reason why that's the only reason why I even brought up this article.
So I read a little about this, and he's like, he works a minimum wage job, and then he's a world ranked gamer, and then he has to go and do a bunch of stuff, right, and kind of save the world, and then he gets asked to like time travel.
Yeah, like janitor by day, world ranked gamer by night, and
it almost seems kind of Pixels-esque.
Oh, I was thinking more like The Last Starfighter, where
the
kid got the high score and then became the last Starfighter or something like that.
Wow, because of a sickly adolescence, Josh is socially inept, has low self-esteem, and cannot approach women. Can you put any more like gamer cliches in there, Seth Rogen? I would appreciate it. Would you like to mention Doritos at some point?
Like when I was looking through this, I mean, first of all, this Josh Hutcherson guy, I mean, like the only thing that he has like similar to like this whole like super cliched gamer is that he's skinny and he's sort of short. You know, that's basically it. Other than that, like
he doesn't really fit.
He's a good looking guy
profile. Yeah.
I mean, like, but like the way how like reading through this description, it sounds like they're gonna make him like Steve Urkel.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to really nerd him up. But it's one of those things. He's certainly not like, he's not my type. But I mean, if we were in the Hunger Games and he was the last one, maybe like.
if we're in an arena where we're killing each other, he was the last guy left, and yeah, sure.
Maybe we should get a coffee at the Center Dome or whatever. I can't remember what the horns are called. Where they get the supplies. Oh, Hunger Games.
But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on this. That, you know, what you pointed out, that it's very cliche. Like,
yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a terribly original idea, and I'm also surprised that Hulu is doing it. I wouldn't think that they would want that kind of like R-rated material, because Hulu has done mostly just nice PG-13 or teen type stuff so far. I'm surprised that they must be trying to branch out to more adult material.
Hopefully it's funny. At the very least, it's gonna be so ridiculous that it will, you know, that the cliche won't even matter, because you know, you can't even take it seriously due to how ridiculous it's gonna be.
Yeah, and maybe they'll actually craft that well into the thing. So yeah, hopefully you're right. Hopefully it'll be funny and we won't notice.
Just wondering, but do you hear a helicopter come from my end?
No.
Okay, good, because it's pretty loud for me.
I had to like stop for a second, but no, I don't hear anything.
All right.
Get to the chopper! Get to the chopper!
While we're talking about cinema,
Yes.
I want to talk about Deadpool real quick.
Oh, Deadpool.
The hit Valentine movie that came out last weekend.
Yes.
So because I like talking about, I mean, this is not game related at all, but I like talking about that comic stuff every once in a while because I read those funny books. I like those pictures.
You like the picture books? So do I.
Those funny books, the Sunday funnies.
I can't wait till they make a Family Circus movie. I'm still waiting. I hope it sticks to the comics.
Oh yeah. I never read Family Circus. I'm like,
I probably just dated myself. I don't even know what Family Circus is.
I read it a few times. I'm like, this is so boring.
Oh, it is. It is. It's just like Billy brought in a newspaper, and I'm like, oh, okay, Billy, cool, hilarious.
Isn't it like mainly supposed to be about like just Christian values or something?
I think so. I think it's about like family values. I don't know. Anyway,
I didn't find it funny, therefore I didn't read it. But Deadpool. This is a movie that was funny. I liked it. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I actually have seen it. I liked it too. I thought that some of the jokes like went a little like over the top, but most of them I laughed pretty consistently, which was good.
The only jokes I didn't laugh at were the ones that were in the trailer because I saw them already.
There were a couple others I was very confused by, like that. It's right at the beginning. So there's one where he makes a joke about pooping in a litter box, and I was like, but the guy said he didn't have a cat, and I spent like 3 minutes trying to figure out the joke. I'm not gonna lie, that's the type of person that
I didn't get that either. I was
like, well, wait, what would be in a bathroom that would be like that? Just like, whoa, Jess, you need to like calm down. It was good. It was fun.
Yes,
I really enjoyed it. I went with friends. It's a good, fun friend movie.
So, the reason I want to talk about this is because of how successful it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this movie, it made like 134.1 million or something like that during the opening weekend. And to give a perspective, got this image right here that has these other superhero movies starting
looks so mad.
Yeah, starting with the Christopher Nolan. He has the lowest one too, so
yeah, he looks like he knows.
Well,
like, really?
This was like his movie was like the first of these, bigger superhero movies. So well, I don't know why they didn't include the other Spider-Man.
Yeah, that was the thing I was seeing. That's really where superhero movies kind of started the big.
Yeah.
So why didn't they include the Tobey Maguire Spider? Yeah, because that would be interesting to see. Because I would have thought it grossed a decent.
So just to run through these for the listeners out there who aren't watching, but just listening, we have Batman. These are the first of the series, not like the Dark Knight or whatever. So Batman Begins, 48 mil. Iron Man 1, 98 mil. Man of Steel, 116 mil. Thor, 65 mil. Captain America, 65 mil. Hulk, the one with Edward Norton, 55 mil. The Amazing Spider-Man, 114 mil. Was this? I'm assuming this is X-Men. Is this X-Men Origins Wolverine or just X-Men or the Wolverine? I'm not too sure.
X-Men.
I'm not too sure.
Like straight X-Men.
Maybe it's the Wolverine.
It might be the Wolverine because he had that same hair that he had in the X-Men movies as he did in the Wolverine. So
I'm not sure, but one of the X-Men movies, 85 mil, and considering the number. I mean, like, I don't think this is the first X-Men. This is probably
one of the later ones.
I think this is the Wolverine.
Okay, that would make sense.
So the Wolverine, 85 mil, and then Deadpool, $134 million on on the opening weekend.
And the thing was, when I went to see it a week after it had opened, and there was still a line. Like, my friend and I went to the IMAX, and we had to wait in a line. They still had it where they had the ropes and everything, because there were so many people waiting to get in to a show that was the, like, Wednesday after it had opened, which is insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
that wasn't even the case for Star Wars. Like,
so one thing I want to mention is that, like, this movie, Fox had very low expectations for it. They pretty much thought it was a high risk because of the R rating.
Yeah.
So they gave it a very low budget. It was about $50 million. To put in perspective, the first Iron Man movie, which was the first movie for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the first Iron Man movie had a budget of $140 million.
Yeah.
So, 140 million Iron Man 1, 50 million for Deadpool. And like basically the way how Fox is putting it is like, yeah, this will be good if we get 60 million out of it. And then, like, once the numbers start coming in after that opening night, like, whoa, 90 million would be pretty nice if we get that. And then, like, by the end of the weekend, they got to 134 million.
Yeah, and they're gonna definitely like get more than that just by the end of the month. I mean, with all the rewatches that are going on, and like there's gonna be a Deadpool 2. Let's be honest.
Yeah, like this movie. I mean, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is the first rated R comic movie." It's not. I mean, I'm not saying that. There are plenty of other ones, and there's other ones that have like a similar style to it. Like I guess the closest ones I can think of are like Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
That would be somewhat comparable because of the mix of gore and humor.
Yeah.
There's another one, Super.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Doesn't it also have Ryan Reynolds in it?
I don't know, but it has that dude from The Office. I don't know.
Oh, Rainn Wilson. Is. Yeah. Okay, I might have been confusing Ryan Reynolds and Rainn Wilson. My bad. They're so similar.
Yeah, you put them side by side. It's like, which one's which?
Dwight Schrute or Ryan Reynolds? You never know. I often wondered in The Office. I'm like, why was Ryan Reynolds in this?
You need help.
I need help. I'm sorry. I need just IMDb attached to me at all times.
Yeah.
No, Jess. But yeah, no, it was really fun.
The marketing team did an amazing job with the marketing campaign.
Oh yeah, and Ryan Reynolds helped a lot. I heard that he had announced something that he said he's like 80% sure he's not like the one that leaked the movie footage, Winky Face, like that he's pretty much the guy that leaked that original footage, which then kind of set everything in motion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the marketing team was top notch. Also, it reminded me of DMX's X Gonna Give It To You, which I was like, I loved this song in my youth.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to have this song in my life forever now.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
So, I mean, this shows that, like, people want this kind of stuff, out of like just entertainment. And, Deadpool, I mean, going back to that image I showed earlier, he is probably the least popular superhero out of all of them. Like as far as like a household name, a lot of people are like, who's Deadpool?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, when it comes to geek culture, yeah, Deadpool is extremely popular. But when it comes to like outside of that geek culture bubble, it's like, who the heck is this guy that looks like Spider-Man?
And I honestly, like, I'm a huge Marvel fan, but I didn't read a lot of Deadpool. So it's one of those things where when I went to see it, that I did have questions about some of his origin story, which is odd for something that's Marvel related.
Mm-hmm. I think Deadpool, like as in the character, not the movie, is overdone. Like, so many people throw Deadpool memes all over the internet and everything, and like you find like 80 people dressed as Deadpool at every convention.
Yeah.
Even if the convention has nothing to do with anything, if it's like a business convention, you'll still see
Deadpool.
Deadpool cosplayers.
Just with his resume.
But like, just the marketing for this movie is so well done, and then it's like when I watched the actual movie, it's like, man, they did a great job. Ryan Reynolds did a great job playing Deadpool. T.J. Miller
Oh yeah,
did an
TJ
amazing
Miller is
job.
great in this.
Not only directing the movie but also being a character in the movie as well. And just as the opening credits says, the true heroes of the movie are the writers.
Yeah, it is a very like dialogue-driven movie, which is nice to see.
I mean,
Particularly, from Fox's Marvel movies, which have been notoriously not great.
Yes, I completely agree. I mean, like they had such a low budget to work with, and they like pulled something off that shouldn't exist.
Yeah,
That's how good this is.
It's one of those things I did not realize it only had $50 million. That's incredible. The production value in it is extremely good, particularly for some of like the slow-mo fight scenes and things.
Mm-hmm.
Just that they had such a low budget and were able to pull it off. It shows what you can do with a movie that you love. Like with good writing, like people focusing on writing and focusing on enjoying making the movie, you can make something.
Yeah, this is a movie like by fans for fans.
Yeah, and it works. And Fox should probably like go hang their head in shame for the last Fantastic Four and then pat themselves on the back for this.
Yeah, like not every comic movie needs to be dark. I mean, they tried to make Fantastic Four dark.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four should be fun.
Yeah, it should have been like the original.
At the same time, the previous two were, supposedly fun, but they weren't great either. At least those two weren't a tragedy like the last one.
And then where you had like the Dr. Doom, I called him Grandma Doom because he had like a little shawl, a little grandma face.
I didn't even watch that the newest movie.
Watch it? Oh man,
I heard so much bad stuff about it that
it's worse than Pixels. I can tell you that, but it's one of those things where it's almost funny if you watch it with people. Grandma Doom.
Now a Fantastic Four movie that I did watch that's pretty bad is the very first Fantastic Four movie. The one
like way back in the way back?
From the 90s?
Yeah, that one is awful.
The one that didn't even come out and you had to like torrent it to find it?
Yeah, no, that one. And I still think that one's better than the last one.
like basically the Thing looked like a Ninja Turtle, with the way how his mouth animated. And what's the name? Human Torch basically turned into a Disney cartoon.
Yeah. And it's still better production values in the but anyway.
So as a result of Deadpool being so successful, Marvel is now looking into making
Wolverines.
The Wolverine movie, the one that's going to be the last Wolverine movie, as well as the X-Force movie, to be both rated R. So,
well, I mean, it could work out. I mean, Deadpool is kind of mildly based on the concept of Wolverine, who in the comics, the early ones, was foul-mouthed and rude and crass. So having him go back to that with the cigar smoking and the gruff could be nice.
Have you played that Wolverine game that came out the same time as the X-Men Origins movie?
No, I have not.
That game, it's pretty much like God of War, and it's made by Raven Software, and it was a decent game. Like, it wasn't bad, and the funny thing about that game is that they started production of that game before the movie got started in production, so they didn't know anything about the movie. So they're like, okay, we're gonna do what we want, and they just made like the most bloody Wolverine experience ever.
I might have to actually go back and check that out, because I assumed it had something to do with the movie, and I didn't care for the movie, so I didn't get the game.
Yeah, so like Wolverine actually cuts people up with his claws in that game.
Nice.
On top of that, he gets blown apart. Like, basically, the more damage Wolverine takes, the less flesh he has.
Oh man.
and then it just regenerates back.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, like I mean, his limbs don't fall apart because his skeleton's adamantium, but he just gets chunks of his body blown off of him, and then it's like okay, time to regenerate. Whoop, everything comes back.
So the X-Force, are they gonna do? Like, do they know who they're going to cast? Like, are they gonna have the actual original X-Force, or are they gonna have one of the older ones?
I think it's gonna be
Cable.
the newer X-Force.
Okay.
Which the newer X-Force is basically a group of people, a group of like the more ruthless X-Men from the X-Men. Group of the more ruthless members of the X-Men that Cyclops put together to do like these covert ops missions to basically like do the dirty work, like kill people off without like the public knowing. So let me see if I could find X4, if I could type. Here's an image that has the newer X-Force.
I thought Cable was in the and so it's gonna have. So is Deadpool gonna be then in the X-Force?
It's very likely that Deadpool will be in the X-Force. Psylocke will probably be in it because she's in the new X-Men movie.
Yeah. And Wolverine, of course.
It is questionable on whether they'll have Wolverine or not, since Hugh Jackman says this will be the last Wolverine time he'll play Wolverine in this new Wolverine movie. So
that is sad because Hugh Jackman is so good as Wolverine. Like, I can't really imagine them being able to find someone who is as good as like him as Wolverine. It's going to be a struggle.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like that's basically the X-Force, the newer X-Force. So I'm imagining that the X-Force movie will be something like these characters: Psylocke, Deadpool, maybe Wolverine, or maybe they'll go with rather than having Hugh Jackman Wolverine, they'll have like an X-23 Wolverine.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, okay. They could
maybe since she's the current Wolverine in the new comics. And Archangel, and I can't remember what this guy's name is.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out who he was because is he Deathlock?
No.
I don't remember who he is.
I can't remember what this guy's name is, but
Ninja Man.
Yeah, sure.
What's Ninja Man?
Trench coat dude.
Trench coat ninja. That sounds like he sounds like a flasher. He sounds
whoa.
Trench coat ninja.
So yeah,
lesser known and lesser appreciated X-Man, the Trench Coat Ninja.
On top of all this stuff with Deadpool's success, other people seem to be trying to like jumping on the bandwagon, because right before the weekend ended, that opening weekend for Deadpool, Todd McFarlane, best known for Spawn, like he was making an announcement like, "Hey everybody, I just finished the script for the new Spawn movie, which will be a hard R rating."
Yeah, just no, Todd. Just sit down, Todd.
It's like, it is so obvious he's trying to piggyback off of Deadpool. And it's like, he's talking about how it's the script he wrote is 103 pages, and after editing, it'll probably end up around 140. Usual scripts are like 120 pages, and it's just so obvious that he not only is trying to piggyback, but he probably started writing this on the Friday that's of that weekend. He's like, "Hey, I spent the last 2 days writing this script I finished."
I just like the fact he described it as The Departed meets Paranormal Activity. I'm like, The Departed was okay, but Paranormal Activity has been kind of meh. And you're essentially trying to make Spawn into like a ghost that's like haunting people. As long as it doesn't have John Leguizamo in it, I think it'll be okay. But I just don't know. I don't see it working.
It's too late for Spawn.
Spawn's done.
Spawn is a product of the 90s. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see how you can make Spawn relevant today because he is the textbook definition of what made 90s comics 90s.
Yeah. And I mean, you could probably update him, but I feel like it would have to be done by someone other than Todd. I think Todd's too close.
Yes.
And yeah, we're on a first name basis. Todd.
He's good friends of the show. Toddy.
Todd. T-Dog. T-Dog McFarlane. T-Dog McFriend.
Yep.
But yeah, I just don't think he's going to do as well as like Deadpool. I think that McFarlane is one of those people that is like, oh, well, people are wanting R-rated superhero movies, and superhero movies are doing so well. That means they'll love another Spawn, right? And it's kind of like, no, Todd. No one has thought about Spawn in years.
Only 3 people have thought about Spawn, and one of them is Todd McFarlane.
That is true. And the other 2 are just super happy right now, and I'm proud. I'm happy for them, but
the other one is
his mom.
Michael J. White, because he's like, hey, are you gonna hire me again?
Yeah, Michael J. White, and then it's just Todd McFarlane's mom.
Man,
Todd!
Michael J. White is still in excellent shape.
Seriously?
Yeah, he is still doing movies. He's still doing action movies.
He's ready. He's ready for Spawn.
Like, they're all like straight to DVD, but either way, like he was in Arrow recently too.
Oh, I had heard he was going to be on that, and I just didn't even. It's spaced.
Yeah, he was Bronze Tiger on there, and he was still pretty fit.
But if this comes out and Todd T-Dog does not name it Respawn, I'm gonna just come and be like, yo, man, I'm gonna take your pencil. I'm gonna show you how it's done.
Take his pencil and send him to Warren Spector.
Yes, and I live in a world where everyone still uses pencils.
Yeah.
No one uses Microsoft Word. Everyone uses pencils.
Oh, that's not supposed to be shown. There we go. Hello.
Do not pay attention to the outline behind the curtain.
Yes, do not pay attention. So that's all the news I got. Anything else you want to mention before we move on?
Not really. I know that there were I know Street Fighter's having a lot of bugs. I'd heard about that, but I don't know too much about it.
Yeah, from everything I've heard about Street Fighter 5, it sounds like the fight, the combat, the gameplay is really good, but like everything else sounds like, why did they even release it? It sounds like an early access game.
It really does. I played it at PAX South briefly, and it was all right. The combat was really good, but the menus seemed kind of glitchy and problematic. And then I heard that that's basically what it's like in the actual game, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, like there are modes and features that are not existent in the game, and like it'll be like coming soon in a free update, and that sounds like minimum.
Yeah, it really does. I think it reminded me when we were talking about minimum about it. Just they both Hadoop can't work.
Uh-oh.
On that, I'll let you end.
All right, let's move on then and talk about some listener feedback. And we got listener feedback. We finally got some. It's been a few weeks. So if you want your feedback, any questions, comments, or big ol' essays written to us, like Tim over here, write into podcast@avcontinues.com. And Tim, good old friend of the show, always be hating. Let me just read through his whole email real quick, and then I'll just break it down afterwards. He was like, Staffa, I gotta say, I am a bit disappointed that you left off so many great potential presidents in your list of better options than Trump. Solidus Snake, Michael Wilson, Adam Benford, Howard T. Ackerman, the boss from Saints Row, the list goes on. All of these people were better. Entirely valid options to be president than Trump. From episode 221, that was the one that you were on.
221.
It's interesting that off your list of racist or diverse, Over half of them are from Japanese games. Punch-Out especially. Tiger is no more racist than most other characters in the game, like the French Glass Joe, the Russian Vodka Drunkinsky, and the Japanese Piston Honda. TJ Combo is a parody of America in general, so it depends on whether you think racism extends to people from a country in general, regardless of skin color. Also, he's much more a caricature in the earlier games compared to the recent ones. So it would be nice to know which TJ Combo and which Prince of Persia you're looking at, since we podcast listeners can't see them. Also, I have to disagree that I disagree with you guys about Jinx isn't racist. If she was meant to seem as a black lady, sure, racist as F, but Jinx isn't a black woman. She's a Yuki Onna. The dancing, black skin, etc. are all elements of the classic Yuki Onna. The black skin is related to death by hypothermia. Frostlass is another take on the Yuki Onna as a Pokemon and has similar stylings. But I do agree with you 100% about one thing. Everything you say is racist. Oh, thank you, Tim, for writing in. Not thank you for saying I'm racist.
Out of diversity.
So let's break it down. So the whole president list thing, the list of video game characters I thought would be better than Trump. First of all, I didn't really forget the boss from Saints Row because that was the image I used for the show posting on outofconfused.com. If you go to outofconfused.com and scroll down to whatever episode that was, it was 220, I think, or 219, whichever one it was, I used an image of the president from Saints Row 4. So
Mario for president.
I did have Mario as a what's it called?
Actually, never mind, Luigi, because I want to do Let's Go as his campaign.
I had Mario as an honorable mention because I don't know if Mario is American.
Oh, that's true.
Don't know.
I like the fact that you're immediately going, I need to see your birth certificate,
yeah,
Mario.
Exactly. Was he born in Brooklyn or was he born in Italy?
Born in Brooklyn.
Which
I want
one?
to see that you actually. I want to see your W-2, man. Are you a plumber? How can I even tell?
Yo, Luigi, let's get some pizza. So, yeah. The other characters, I mean, like Michael Wilson, Adam Benford, Howard T. I have no idea who they are. I had to look up who those characters were. One of them is the president from like Resident Evil 6 or something, I think.
Yeah, I thought one of them was.
Solid Snake and Solid Snake. He's too serious. Or sorry, Solidus Snake. Too serious of a character for my list. My list was supposed to be goofy. Like if you listen to that podcast, well, first of all, I literally made that list like maybe an hour or so before I started recording because we did not know what the main topic was going to be. And I kept on seeing, like, I was looking through my Facebook feed. I saw everybody posting about Donald Trump. So I'm like, presidents, that would be better than Donald Trump.
I mean, maybe you'll get that in Metal Gear Solid 6 with Phantom President. Phantom Presidential Campaign.
As for the racist or diverse characters, I mean, I could have used like all the characters from Punch-Out. Heck, I could have used all the characters from Street Fighter, but that would have been too easy.
Too easy.
That would have been too easy. I wanted to be diverse with my racially diverse list of characters.
Exception.
Yeah, TJ Combo. I should have mentioned it was the TJ Combo from the first game. But Prince of Persia, I'm very certain I said Prince of Persia: Sands of Time and Prince of Persia 2008.
You had two Prince of Persia, so you actually mentioned which one.
I mean, I can go back and listen to that, but that's too much work for me to do. So, but I'm very certain I did say Prince of Persia: Sands of Time and Prince of Persia in 2008. With the Jinx thing, I'll go with what you said. Sure.
I actually was confused because I thought Yuki Onas were like called snow women, so they were basically they're pale, they're spirits. But I could be wrong about that.
I don't know anything about Japan. I just know it's weird.
I'm gonna be Googling later tonight.
And the final thing on this listener feedback, everything I say is racist. Sure, fine.
You'll just go with it?
Let's go with it. Everything I say.
Hey, being talked about is better than not being talked about.
Sure. All right, let's wrap things up. Wrap it up. So let's do some shout outs and plugs real quick. Jess, you want to plug your Twitch stream?
Yes, most definitely. So I am just playing. I do Twitch. I play a bunch of variety games, a lot of indie stuff, and FPSs. So if you'd like to come and hang out with my community and all my peoples, they're lovely. Go to twitch.tv/justplayin and hang out with us. I'd love to see you there. I stream most nights at 9 p.m.
And that's playing without a G, right?
Without a G, because I'm just a rebel.
Yeah, you're hip and happening.
I am hip and happening. That's what the kids do these days. They drop the letters.
Yep.
Like the bay.
I'll be sure to leave the link in the show notes once again.
Thank you.
Just like last time. My Twitch stream, which I don't stream as nowhere near as often as Jess does, but I do that sometimes too. It's twitch.tv/SayedStafa. That's SayedStafa. Also, check out the Out of Capes podcast, because we've been reviewing, me and Eric, we've been reviewing, or Eric and I have been reviewing The Flash. We're still working on that Batman Bad Blood review, which we tried doing it the other day, but then his mic messed up halfway through the review, so we scrapped it. Yeah, it's like, okay, we gotta do that discussion all over again. And I'm working on getting a Deadpool review up. Eric hasn't watched Deadpool yet, so if he doesn't watch it soon, I'm just gonna find someone else to do that review with, because I want to do a review on Deadpool. So, cool. Yeah, Out of Capes podcast. And anything else that we want to plug real quick before we close out the show?
Basically, if you haven't looked into Extra Life, extra-life.org, you should. I'm part of their stream team, and they do a really great job of raising money for kids through gaming, so that's always awesome. And go follow Stafa on Twitch, because I lurk there a lot too, so it's a cool show. Go like
All right. And since this show's wrapping up, I just want to say real quick that I found it very entertaining to do this Google Hangout with you, Jess, where every time it was whenever the video was on you, I saw my face reflecting off your glasses.
Oh, then it's just we said it was 220 me, and it's that you. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone saw. Yeah, everyone saw you double the Stafa, double the fun.
Yeah, it's like I was always on the screen.
Yeah, that's how you do it, man. You get in people's homes.
But anyways, I know that was fun doing this podcast with you.
It was really great. Thanks for having me back, man.
If you enjoy what you've been hearing, you can support us by liking us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. Leave an iTunes review. You can contact by email. That is podcast@outofcontinues.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/outofcontinues. All those things I mentioned. I know I just said a lot of things, but you don't need to remember any of them except for outofcontinues.com, because all those are listed right there. Just go to outofcontinues.com, click on the thing that you're looking for. You can give me a tweet. I am at SayedStafa. That's at SayedStafa. You can tweet at me there. You can also tweet at Jess over here. You got Twitter too, right?
Yes, you can always tweet me any questions or comments you have or jokes at @thejustplayin. Still no G at the end. Yeah, and you can also tweet at Jane McGonigal to tell her to tweet at me. Tweet at me, girl. Slide into my
Uh, with that said, I'd like to thank my guest host for joining me today, Jess.
Thank you, Safa. And
with
thank
that
you,
said,
Internet.
yes, thank you. And with that said, quick shout out to Tim again. Thanks for writing in, even though you're a big hater.
Love you, Tim.
Thank you very much for the tweets. With that said, hey, it's a love-hate relationship that
It's
Tim and I have.
an abusive relationship
yes,
between
yes,
Continues and Tim.
we beat each other up, and it's all for fun and games, and we both understand that Smash Brothers is not a real fighting game. So
Is Tim gonna come back at you? I
Yes.
can already tell the user feedback.
yes. With that said, I'm your host, Stafa. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week on Out of Continues episode 224. Spawn.